us.
The thing is, he's more like...
He's older than me, Lumi. Speak for yourself, please.
Lumi, he's older than me too.
I'm the oldest of everyone, it's fine. But no, but for fears mostly that he's been such a veteran in the scene. He's been here for so long that it seems like he should probably be ancient because he's here for so long.
And it's that just Dota 1 heritage of his, like the CIS Dota fans have been around, like they go way back to Dota 1. For the rest of the EG team, these are people who became names in Dota 2, but like some of those old school names like Puppy, Fear, like they're gonna receive that.
But why is it not Old Man Puppy?
He doesn't look as old. It's just
because of the beard.
The beard, yeah.
Okay.
There hasn't been any photoshops of Puppy on a rocking chair yet. You know, he's not there.
There we go.
Would you look at that?
The Chen ban.
Lone Druid picked up second for Vega. I want to hear your thoughts on that one.
Mag would be the player that plays the hero in this team. They don't put it on safe lane.
They played it and it was Mag playing it.
Yeah.
And Mag, just before this game in pub, was practicing.
It wasn't even that game. I was always watching the pub games that when the players are around. He was like playing a lot of Lone Druid games.
Okay.
A lot of Lone Druid games. And OD.
That's actually the one thing I noticed about Mag. Like even Frankfurt Major, I pop into Dota 2, I see him practicing like clockwork, and then the next game they pick him clockwork. So if you want to snipe Mag or know what he's going to be playing, just hop into Dota 2.
That goes for a lot of players though.
Yeah. The thing is, you know, in League of Legends, like they have people like scouting for stuff like that. In Dota 2, that hasn't become a thing yet.
I think it's somewhat a thing, but a lot of the players are aware of it, and they play on like that's why they play on Smurfs, or they just don't register accounts. Like I know Universe, he plays all his pub games on like his unofficial account. Like that's like there's a few people like, oh, it's Universe on the other team, but it never says on the Dota 2 watch tab like it's Universe playing.
Yeah.
So it's definitely like a big thing where players are wary of it, but some care more than others.
I think you should. I mean, if it is that obvious for some players, should you not be wary of it? Is that not like the next step?
It matters for the players who are using it as practice for a hero, I think.
But sometimes it's very hard to ban out. Oh, you can't just place your bans because this guy plays so much.
I saw this guy playing that in the pub. Let's ban it. It's so good.
Maybe Mag just doesn't care either. Like he's like, I'm gonna play my game, you know.
Hey, but Invoker Lone Druid, do you feel like that fits into the style that we just discussed Vega should play?
Alacrity bear, you know?
Yeah?
I like that. And Lone Druid has some sort of timing, even though early game he doesn't, like, the first 10 minutes laning phase he's gonna sit in his lane, but his timing is still considered quick, because once you get the Radiance, you just want to keep pushing, keep taking the fight to the enemy. So I think it's still a good idea to do that against EG, because as long as you're not sitting there trying to get to late game, it's fine. You need to be able to, at some point you get one item and you start to fight.
I also think that these two heroes are essentially block picks for against EG, because EG has been showing that they're comfortable with the Invoker as well as the Lone Druid, so taking them away is I think very good for Vega. Unfortunately, they opened up with Venge for EG. That means they could continue to follow the trend with things like Bat Rider or Enigma or both. They've shown to play both. So,
and it can be the safe lane farming Venge if they want to go like a greedy Enigma, or they can decide to run as a support if there's some carry that kind of appears.
They have good heroes at killing the bear. So far, the Venge is really good. OD as well, pure damage against the Spirit Bear. So Vega Squadron would take out the Enigma, take out the Omni Knight. Those two heroes that were picked during, I can't remember against who, but they ran it on one of the games, Omni offlane. Jungle Enigma.
It was the first game against
Navi?
Navi.
Yeah, Navi.
Oh yeah, first game of the tournament.
And even though it was against Navi, who finished quite poorly, like Navi played really well that game. It was just EG with this like incredible 5-man hero composition that they couldn't fight into. The Omni Knight being like a key part of that.
So what do we reckon Vega needs here? You have some armor type of heroes removed. Does it actually say anything about what EG might try to go for?
They're just worried about Vega coming in with a 5-man lineup that pushes to like Exalt, Invoker, Lone Druid, plus Dazzle, and then they take Roshan, and because OD doesn't have wave clear. Neither does Venge, so you are very worried about if Vega comes up with a push that comes way too early, you have no answer for that.
I'm personally very apprehensive to see an OD pick early. I feel like the hero has a lot of counters. You could beat him in lane, you could shut him down mid-game.
I think we saw Fnatic do this as well. And
and
their early game was like so bad for the OD.
Right, he got swapped, he got bad lassoed. So I'm just wondering, what do you think about the early OD pick, especially when Vega hasn't even picked their supports yet? You could pick a ganking lineup that shut him down early.
I think it was just a reaction, because you want a hero that can kill the bear, like the Spirit Bear, so OD does it very well. I'm not sure about the laning phase now against Invoker, because I remember the old OD you can actually beat Invoker quite handily.
You will run over the Invoker.
Even with the new OD?
No, the old one.
Yeah,
the new one,
the
I
new one,
think it's
sure.
much more even. I would say
And it
Invoker's
depends
probably...
if it's Exort or Quasvex. I think with the strategy, if you're running Lone Druid, you probably want to have Exort,
Alacrity.
Yeah, you want to push and you want to have Alacrity giving a lot of damage. You play around Roshan, you go Necrobook. I think those are the things that you want to consider.
Ooh.
So you can see EG already gearing up because they are very worried about the 5-man. They are starting to pick D-push. And Wyvern, generally when you see picked nowadays, is always for the Splinter Blast to hold off a push.
I really like Wyvern ultimate against Zoo strats. You know, your Force Spear, your Berry.
Oh yeah.
You drop a good ult in the middle of it, and boom, one person is dead.
What are we thinking Vengeful Spirit is going to do here? Core or support?
To say though, like I think both is still good.
Yeah, personally looking at this, maybe EG have something in mind, but from an outside perspective, it really there's no like, okay, this needs to be a core Venge for this reason, or it needs to be a support.
I think it's like a reactionary thing. Like you change it based on what the enemy.
Okay, so for you're saying EG even doesn't know right now.
Yeah.
If EG think they can get away with a greedier carry, they may do so. But like you look at Vega, what they're doing, they get a Gyrocopter now. It's very aggressive, very fast paced. So they need a safe lane hero. For when you've got the OD, you need a safe lane hero that's kind of high tempo. You can't be picking a greedy safe laner as well on top of this.
So how do you feel like the farm distribution will be for Vega? Because you have Gyro, Lone Druid, and Invoker. They all eat quite a bit of farm.
Basically, if you're running, okay, let's say they are running Exort Invoker. So Exort Invoker plus Lone Druid off lane, those two heroes are not going to look to move. So your tempo control will fall on, fall on the Gyro or whatever support you go for last.
Tusk is a good support because they need tempo. Like the tempo controls need to be the support and the Gyro. So I wouldn't be surprised to see their last pick support also something very active.
Unless it's a Quasvex Invoker, then you can say, oh, maybe Gyro, they would rotate around. Gyro make a move, one tempo move, and then Quasvex Invoker can move around.
The chances of a Quasvex Invoker is quite low because you brought up the Alacrity Bear is the combo.
But they can still do it if they feel like some drafts you feel like, oh, you need someone to actually control the game.
Universe is going to be playing the offlane Faceless Void this game.
Oh, it's actually quite good if you can actually get a lot of experience from the lane, because usually when F3 works, it's because the laning phase is so good for him. I think I mentioned this to you guys because I like to play the hero a lot. If the enemy doesn't have a lot of stuns in the a lot of long disables, you can get your backtrack off every time you soak up damage. Then the laning phase becomes really good for you.
Great against Gyrocopter. You get Rocket Barrage and you time walk away. And I haven't played the Void much, but I played against it. And when you're a hero like Gyrocopter, Invoker against time dilation, Gyrocopter gets wrecked by that. You can early on, like you get one Rocket Barrage off, you gotta wait forever to use a second Rocket Barrage.
I think you want to ban Shaman maybe. Shaman is one of the best.
That was the pick that you just walk in the trees, shackle him.
Shaman and Dazzle, like two things on Faceless Void in the lane. Damage over time or long disables. Because the long disables would mean that the backtrack cannot remove the damage. And then the damage over time means that what do? Like every time you use time out, you don't actually get the value. So those are the two things that would wreck Faceless Void in the lane.
How would you rate Lion against that?
Lion is like weaker than Shaman. I mean, it's the same thing. Like you have a lot of disable, but early levels Faceless Void is much more comfortable versus Lion compared to the Shadow Shaman.
It's definitely not a Vega hero because I've never seen him play it. What do you think something like Keeper of the Light? Give him a Mono League, sure, you could jump away. You know, like you can't really sustain in the lane.
Yes, but the thing is like Keeper of Light would probably be weaker.
It doesn't fit really.
You look at the mid-game plan, like where Tusk Gyro is roaming around trying to apply. They're the ones being the aggressive. Coddle doesn't really that too well, I don't think.
I actually rather have Shaman because I know the way Vega plays the Tusk sometimes. The Tusk is the position 5. He's buying all the wards. He doesn't play items, and solo will be on another hero that takes up farm like the Shaman.
Oh, they moved to silence.
So that is also another hero that wrecks Faceless Void because of all his spells. It's very hard to play Void. I lost one game really hard to Silencer when I was playing Void. It was a nightmare. I had to buy Manta style against Silencer. It was not ideal.
So what are we thinking for the last pick here for Vega? Which support is still left apart from Shadow Shaman? Is there anything else that they should go for? Shadow Shaman is the answer?
They really like Disruptor too. They're a team who play a lot of Disruptor. It's obviously you can glimpse back Void. It's always really nice.
Damage over time is not instant damage, so the harass is pretty good versus the time walk. And if he jumps away, and it's not a far jump, so you can glimpse him back. So
what about Skywrath Mage? Great against the Winter Wyvern. You get a silence against Faceless Void.
I don't like Skywrath
against Venge because suddenly you deal all this damage.
Another single. I don't like the single target aspect of it. I'd rather something be like something more teamfight oriented as far as Vega's last pick goes. I think Shadow Shaman makes up for with the pushing power, but the Disruptor to me seems like a good teamfight option.
Okay.
I think both are just like solid, like because the Disruptor means that you have more disable. Because if you look at their overall lineup, Plus is the only one with primary disable. So if you have Glimpse, maybe you can actually get more kills, and I know Vega likes to pick Disruptor a lot in the past, so might also be a good pick for the whole team.
What do you reckon for EG?
EG's draft is so open with the Venge as a carry or support.
They probably put OD on RTZ, and then Venge will be support, then they'll pick a Sumail hero. That is not going to farm too much because they have Void and OD. Void is going to need space to a certain extent, and OD obviously eats up a lot of space. So their safe laner probably needs to be really, really fast-paced.
Juggernaut?
Maybe even Timber. I think Timber with Void is quite good because you chrono and then you just do damage.
Yeah.
So Vega still hasn't decided their last support right now.
They might have already decided, but just discuss stuff.
Yeah,
they weren't about to do in game. They are using every second of their bonus time at least.
10 seconds remaining.
For EG, they've got the Venge. You think Winter, like, they want to be picking like some kind of physical damage,
Evil
like carry as their last pick, or is that just not a consideration?
It's okay to go for that route too, but I think the main thing is they cannot pick someone that needs too much farm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So the Venge
Carry
is...
Venge, yeah?
No,
Mid
no,
bat.
no. Mid safe lane Void. Safe lane Void? No.
No, safe lane OD.
Oh, safe lane OD.
Yeah, RTZ safe lane OD, it looks like.
Mid bat, okay.
So I think they want the OD, like, even in the laning stage to be against the Lone Druid.
So gods, one thing that everybody should look out for Vega, what timing do they need to have to try and beat EG? I mean, you don't have face, but I still want to hear the timing.
Oh, the time, it's got to be like the probably around the Bear Radiance where they can take fights and push their advantage.
Okay, well, it's time for the first game, guys. It is time to see EG taking on Team Vega with OD Pixel and Scant.
Thank you very much, Shiva. Hopefully you guys at home can hear us, because we've got a bit of a kerfuffle because the Russians here can't hear the Russians on screen. Hopefully you can hear me in Scant. We're ready to take you through the first series, of course, here at the LAN portion, the knockout stages, EG versus Vega. We've just seen the drafts. It's looking pretty hype. We've got the OD coming through. We're going to see Sumail on the bat. And Lion as the final pick for Vega Squadron, maybe something that we didn't expect.
Yeah, definitely. And EG themselves with these new picks, though. The Winter Wyvern, I don't think anyone's picked on this tournament. The Faceless Void, we haven't seen much. We certainly haven't seen the Void being picked by EG.
Oh, look at this. I think we're showing this at the moment on the screen. 6-5. I'm sure you're counting down in Twitch chat as well. Look at the hype. Look at it go. Bam. Go. Wow. Give us some dirt too, please. Thank you. Yeah. Look at that. We are ready here at Starladder. The hype is done. And Scant, take it away. You were talking. I interrupted. The countdown interrupted.
Yeah, I was saying,
very rude.
EG were waiting on their Wyvern pick, their Void pick. They didn't use them earlier in the tournament. Yes. The OD pick, Arteezy's OD. Do you know, OD is like the hero that this guy became known for. He went to MLG, he destroyed the tournament, playing OD over and over and over again.
He also destroyed a few bedrooms from what I've heard, but carry on.
You got to be scared of this hero if you're Vega Squadron. I mean, obviously it's very different to how it functioned back then, but he knows his way around that hero, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, I don't know, Vega Squadron, they're pretty much in the elements. I think like they were going to go for the Shadow Shaman. I think the reason they took so long on the Lion is because they decided Shadow Shaman is maybe a little bit more fragile, a little bit slower. Vengeful Spirit Wyvern with that long range, catch it out. Batright especially, now that it's been picked up, could catch it out. So they go for the Lion pick instead. A little bit of an adjustment toward the end of the draft for Vega Squadron, but I'm of the opinion that Vega could definitely get a game out of the series. I agree that they're underdogs, but I'm not going to go the gods route and say that it's like easy 2-0 for EG. I definitely think Vega could take a game.
Absolutely, especially I think you really can't write off Vega from, as it was mentioned at the panel at the start, after the performance they gave against VP. You know, to be a team to bring back a swing of about 35,000 or whatever it was, you can never write these guys off. And we've seen games as well where that's happened against EG before. Other teams done it, like LGD, where EG's had the lead. So EG are susceptible, like VP were, to having the game turn around against them, even if EG do get the start.
And Vega are the home team here, and it's not just, I mean, they're not from Minsk, but they're a CIS team, and it's not just Vega. I gotta tell you something, I don't think the panel realized during, like, when they were panning to the players, Solo is the player that this crowd goes wild for. Every single time Solo goes on camera, they go insane. So if he's making plays in this game, he's gonna have the entire crowd behind him.
And understandably so, because he's about to win them a lot of money if he throws it. But anyway, getting on with the game. So looking at the lanes that we've got coming out, the fact that RTZ up against no one in the mid lane. On the bottom lane, you've got this kind of matchup between the Lone Druid and the Faceless Void. The top lane, the Jewel versus Jewel. I mean, who's coming out on top of the lanes? Which side do you think is more comfortable with this matchup?
I'm not too sure. I mean, there's been an adjustment made by EG. We see Sumail actually in the off lane, which we've seen him switch between the mid and the safe lane quite a bit, depending on what they need. I don't think we've seen him match actually in that off lane. So that for me is the interesting lane to watch, considering the fact that Sumail's a player who likes to make kills in his lane.
Yes.
And when you're in that off lane, I mean, they're in a 2v3 situation, and I could see him maybe getting tempted to go for that big play play and getting punished for it. At the moment, though, playing quite cautiously. And it's really, that's the test for EG in this lane stage. They've got a player who wants to be very aggressive, and he's in a position where he's not meant to be.
Yeah. So far, he's doing very well in the mid lane. 10 for 5 on your OD compared to the 5 for 0 on the Invoker. So OD very much winning the lane at the moment.
Yeah, and they talked on the panel about how the old OD destroyed the Invoker, and I think the new OD does reasonably well against the Invoker too. I think especially if it's Arteezy OD, like
yes.
we give him credits.
We know he's good. It's certainly a lot better than his Ember. But anyway, so far 2.5 minutes in. Something that we haven't actually talked about between us, the Winter Wyvern. So the fact that it's coming back in this game, EG obviously feel that the strength is still there, you know, regardless of the nerfs that it would get in 6.86. I mean, why the Wyvern this game? What do you think what did they see from Vega, or what were they worried about that warranted this pick?
Yeah, so there's two things with the Wyvern. The one is that other than the ulti, the hero didn't really get nerfed for. Sumail actually going for some aggression.
Yeah, he gets a couple of napalm stacks, decides to try for it, but the stun holds him back, so still nothing going on.
Going back to the Wyvern, I think the ulti got nerfed, but other spells didn't get nerfed. The hero is really good in terms of the other things that it does. When you're against a lot of physical damage, the heal is going to make a lot of good value. The Splinter Blast is very good against the push strategies. And the ulti, as we were discussing actually during the draft,
yes,
it can still be a setup.
It's the setup.
So they set up for that Void Chronosphere, and that's going to work perfectly fine.
And it's going to be very interesting to see when the fights do kick off, because they do have that combination. They don't really have anything too huge to throw down in the Chrono other than the Sanasee's Eclipse.
It's just the OD right clicks and the ulti.
Pretty much.
It's all about Arteezy.
That's the thing. We've seen in late games where OD, he just needs to get 2-3 touches and he can destroy carries if he gets the intel steal up. And Sumail, well, he's trying to chase down Solo. Solo does have 4 stacks of napalm. And here with the Firefly, 5 stacks. He'll pop the stick charges, not enough. First blood there for Sumail, but now there's the turnaround. They'll drop the shards. Slayer trying to find it, but Sumail with the Firefly, he just flies over the igloo, says, "Screw you, Iceman," and he's out of there.
I guess the crowd's not that loyal to Solo after all, because...
Well, I told you, they've got ulterior motives here while they're cheering for him.
Yeah, it's like... Okay, well, nice kill from Sumail. He found a way, despite being in the 2v3 lane, to get the first kill in the game, so that's Sumail for you, right? And his job this game is going to be to like create space to make those pickoffs. Universe has a similar job actually to set up. This draft by EG is very much an Arteezy-centered draft. It's all about him. He's the damage. Void is not going to be dealing the damage. The Bad as it goes late is not going to be. The Wyvern's not going to be. So,
jumping forward, it gets the first hit bash, and now with the slow, they can try and go for this time dilation. So you're not going to shout, you're not going to be able to cry, Lone Druid. You're going to be able to get away. Splinter Blast, it will take him down there. Fear with the finish on the bottom lane, 2-0 to EG.
Yeah, and it's maybe a worrying sign for Vega Squadron. If we look at the drafts, Vega Squadron looks like the draft that wants to get a good start, get their key items, the blink on the Lion, all the pushing items on the other heroes, and then mount their push. But if they're behind, we've seen a lot of teams in this tournament actually approach to dealing with the enemy team pushing lineup is to just go for the lane stage. If you dominate them in the lane stage, they don't get to assemble their push at the right timing, and that's what EG are going for here.
Absolutely, and just looking at the CS, the fact that Universe, he's getting so much in this matchup on the bottom lane, he's doubled the CS of the Lone Druid.
I'm actually wondering if Universe might go like away from the utility build. In China, we've seen a lot of offlane Voids, and they've been going Treads, Vlads, Blink Dagger, Axe. But since he's getting a lot of gold, I don't know. There was a game in this tournament where Virtus Pro actually picked a carry Void. It was Silent playing it, but then he ended up buying the support items, and they didn't win. They didn't actually.
Oh, they didn't win that game.
Yeah,
no, they didn't win that.
That was the secret one, I think.
Oh, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, never forget.
But I think some people would say they should have won the game, maybe. So. Yeah, I'm interested to see if Universe has his own build. I think I would call the Ice build, the Vlad's, Blink, Ags, that's been the standard one. But EG are definitely like not afraid to innovate.
We can see PPD at the moment, he's come down to the bottom, trying to see if he can get a walk in onto Mag. Still, it all relies on really Fear just getting the touch with the Arctic Burn, but they realise the Mag's playing too safe. They're going to be fine. Meanwhile, top lane, the tri-lane here from the side of Vega. A significant amount of damage to the tower. We've seen Sumail, he's headed over to the side camp here that's now near that top lane, and he's still finding the levels. It's easy with a DD and CS-wise. Yeah, seeing no one actually catching up. We saw at the start Arteezy with a little bit of a lead, but now 30-10, 28-7. The Invokers recover quite nicely here.
Yeah, it's that alacrity nerf that Invoker got, I think. Yeah, you need a few levels to actually get online, but once you're there, it's not too bad. And we do see Vengeful Spirits heading across the mid lane, but I don't think this is just like defensive purposes in case they go on Arteezy, I think.
Yeah, just making no one think twice about moving in here for the CS.
I don't know, would they consider an Astro and then dive him? I'm not too sure about that.
Yeah, it would be a little bit too aggressive. I think as you
he doesn't even have the Astro yet.
Yeah, so. Yeah, that's true, yeah. With the build, he's probably going to max out the first and third skills. And I guess as well from from this lineup from EG, as you said, they don't really need to look to fight too much. If they're getting enough farm on the cores, that's all right, because they have got that kind of power play in the later portions with the Faces Void, with the OD, and of course with just the combination of the the Winter Wyvern into the Chronosphere.
Honestly, I think draft-wise, if Vega Squadron missed their timing by too much, it's a nightmare of a game for them, because EG have so much control, and Arteezy's damage is going to be enough, plus the Venge Aura is obviously going to give some more damage to everyone else. I mean, try pushing into like bats constantly catching your Wyverns, catching your Voids, catching you. I think that Vega Squadron needs to actually hit a good timing. They need to start pushing when they're not far behind, and at the moment they're getting a bit behind. So pressure's on Vega right now.
And Arteezy's going to need a bit of space here as the Invoker's actually backed off to the safety of his jungle to pick up a few camps. And actually, sorry, no, Invoker's over by the Ancients. It is the Lion that's just, I believe he's just stacking some up, clearing them up. Bottom lane. Again, Fear trying to make a go onto Lone Druid. Universe now level 7. It's this Void. He is getting a lot Universe. It's just going to be very interesting to see.
Yeah, he's going for the Vlads. Check that out. He's going for the Vlads, the standard Isosites utility Void build. You see, the way that the Void got changed, it's really not as viable to build a Glass Cannon DPS. So it's really like a supporty utility Void. It's there for the Chronos. It's there to give the auras to the team. And it's going to be that standard setup that we've been used to seeing in China.
Yeah, I mean, Mag himself, he has got 1400 built up. I will see if he does indeed go for the kind of the Midas into Radiance this game on the Bear. I believe he's one of the Lone Druids that does sometimes build a little bit differently. I mean, do you see any reason why he wouldn't go for the Midas Radiance this game?
I mean, he might adjust if he finds himself under pressure. I think we did see a Lone Druid yesterday skip the Midas and try to go straight into Radiance. I can't remember which one it was. Mag is actually, as the panel said, he's been spamming this hero non-stop. So he knows what he's doing on it, and actually this is one of the few teams that even though they ran the Lone Druid in the offlane, they do kind of like Alliance a lot of the time. He ends up being the main carry instead of actually partially doing it.
PPD just stacking up here. We can see PPD as well, just maybe looking for some levels on this top lane now, because Samael, he's gone back over to the jungle. Looking to try and work, of course, towards that Blink Dagger. Has got the level 6 now on the bat. And still, I mean, 9 minutes in, only 2 for 0. The game's certainly calmed down. And I guess Vega with the Lone Druid and the Invoker, the fact that they are getting good farm, Mag on his Lone Druid now, 42 CS. He's keeping up, but Universe certainly ahead.
He's got the Midas now. Yeah, but that's the Blink Dagger on Samael, and I think that's such a bigger item timing than the Midas on the Lone Druid. So
Vega might be ready to farm, but EG is certainly going to be ready to fight.
I genuinely think what I was talking about, I said if EG got a bit too far ahead, Vega just completely missed the window. That's Samael's blink. If he makes like 2 or 3 kills in the next few minutes, Vega's game is like going to collapse beneath them.
Looks like he's going to see to the tier 2 midders. PPT got smoke? Yes, he has. So they'll set something up here. Let's see where they have for Arthur.
This is a really quick blink tag, especially considering that he was in that off lane, 2v3 lane. Sure, he got the first blood. Vega might not know it. I mean, they know he's off the map, but I think the first blink could catch them.
Let's have a look. Samael, PPD. You can see this warding as well from Vega. They're looking to get a lot of control around this spot.
They want the Invoker. Tusk is playing Bodyguard right now.
It's going to be a hard one. Samael leading him with a Firefly. Only a few seconds left of the smoke. He's going to get vision. He'll jump in. Gets off the lasso, but Slayer is there. Can he save him? He'll try and block him off, but PPD's already got the way around. They'll pop the Ghost Walk, trying to get himself away. They don't have detection. Pasha's coming in with a cooldown. It's going to connect on Samael. Slayer snowballs away here onto the creep camp. Vega get themselves out, and yes, PPD and the back, they just didn't have anything there to get the vision on the Invoker.
Yeah, I don't know if they expected the blink, but they definitely expected the gank. You could see they were prepared. The Gyrocopter was already heading there. The Tusk was just bodyguarding, and Invoker was very, very ready to get the Ghost Walk as soon as possible. I will say that if they had Dust, that party still makes a kill. It's because of the Ghost Walk that the Invoker gets out.
Yes, yeah, they would have got the kill with it. I guess they just felt that they could chain lock him down with the lasso into the magic missile and thought they had the deeps to just do it like that.
Yeah, EG unusually, like slightly underprepared for a gank, I would say.
Top laner man we haven't really talked about, Pasha, 4.5k, he's level of Arteezy. It's still Universe though at the top, and this is kind of classic Universe. We see him have these games where he's given the space, and this is a man who knows how to find his farm, and a man who'll know what to do with it as well. So I really feel that this Void is the one to watch this game, and we could certainly be seeing some big plays coming out from the man in purple.
I mean, that's the whole, like, not the hero that's going to like carry the game in the conventional sense, because he's just not going to be doing the damage output. But definitely big chronos will win them the game. And the faster you get Vlads, the faster you get Blink, the faster you get Blink, the faster you get Ags, and then there's just going to be... He's bought the Ring of Protection, so he's going for the Iron Talon. Yeah. But that's, you know, the old Void used to buy Mask of Madness and just jungle between Chronospheres. You can't buy Mask of Madness anymore, so you buy something, like the Vlads doesn't give you increased farm rate.
It's
really.
like the poor man's Midas. It gives you that kind of opening to keep the progression good, and especially when you're already doing as well as it is. We are going to see a bit of a wraparound up to top. Vega trying to find Universe. They'll drop the cooldown. Shard's going to block him, but he's got Time Walk in a couple of seconds. He's going to get stunned here from Solo, but he should be fine. In fact, he wants to go in. Jumps in, but the Hex is there. Can't get off the Chrono. There's your Winter's Curse onto Pasha. Bringing in Slayer. They have got the credit, but have they actually got the damage? Meanwhile, they get the last off onto Invoker. EG will find that kill, and they kill Slayer. Magic Missile onto Pasha. They're trying to look for more. Time Dilation is going to stop Pasha throwing out any more spells. Solo will be able to TP out. They're looking to try and dive onto the Gyre here. Someone else coming as well. Sanity's is dropped. The full 5-man of EG coming up to the top lane, and 5 kills now on the board for the Americans.
And that's exactly what we were discussing about the Wyvern ulti as a setup for the Chronosphere, right? It's like a buffed vacuum. It's not as big area as the vacuum, but you pull them there and they have to stay there. So you're definitely going to get that Chrono off, and GG's draft really working out. We can see what they've been thinking, and I mean, I said I said what 1 or 2 minutes ago that if they get a couple of pickoffs, Vega are going to stop missing their timings. And I know it's still very early in the game, but I think the game's becoming very, very bad.
We know that Vega can be the ones to turn stuff around.
Well, we saw that last night for sure, but I think if you look at the drafts, it's harder this game. EG are very, very far ahead right now.
Yeah, and I think just from that, as we saw, you know, you said about the Winter Wyvern, if you just look at it, EG, they've got a very annoying team to play against. They're going to have RTZ taking someone out of the fight with an Astral, the Winter's Curse, you know, disabling people, Time Dilation stopping you from casting your spells, Venge and the Batrider just displacing heroes on the side of Vega. They've got a very disruptive lineup, and that seems to be something so far that Vega are struggling to fight around.
Yeah, the point is Vega's lineup, it can convert into just like play for late game, but that's not what they picked it for. They wanted it to have pressure in the early game, also be able to push down buildings, and that is very quickly disappearing. And I've seen time and time again in this tournament when teams that want to push have to convert into going for late game, they pretty much always lose.
And at the moment, Vega, they have got, obviously, the double Midas that they're running on both the Invoker and the Lone Druid.
RTZ rushing Orchid, actually, which is very interesting, because ODs are almost always going for the ATOS or the 4-star first, and we debate which item's better, but straight into the Orchid this time. I actually think that's Slash's way. I actually think that's... I don't know if you know.
Orchid first.
Yeah, I think it is. Slash's way was off-lane OD, and then Orchid first. Not sure about that, but... Build, RTZ's going with it. And he's going to be able to like destroy people with the Orchid, a couple of hits and ulti, like anyone.
And we have Smoke Up from EG. At the same time, Smoke Up from Vega. This could be a big clash. Universe moving into place. Oh, he draws the Chrono. It does clip Invoker on the sidelines. That might be all that's needed, but no, the Snowball. This is looking to be maybe not too great for EG. They jump in onto Universe, but now Samel comes through, breaks up the fight with a flame break. There'll be a finger onto Universe. Universe hacks up, but PPD with a swap to the high ground, deafening blast. The Invoker will finish him off, and they get the kill onto Universe. And Universe, I don't know if he intended to just clip the Invoker, but it didn't look like the greatest of Chronospheres to start off.
So I think Universe thought that they might back off from him, and they actually ran forwards at him and dodged the Chrono that way. But either way, it's maybe a rusty Universe Void. He hasn't been playing it as much recently, certainly not on officials. And first Chrono of the game was set up so nicely by the Wyvern ulti. This one was like just a raw Chrono.
Just a little bit off point.
And definitely, you know, he goes down, but he knows it's on him. He knows it's like, if I hit that Chrono, that's not going to happen.
It's like, right guys, I messed up. Let me take this one. I mean, we saw PPD very close to being able to swap him. Definitely blast from no one. Very nicely placed up to the high ground where he saw that he'd been swapped to. Clipping the board.
RTZ's finished his Orchid. He's sending it on the Chrono. That's like a 16-minute treads Orchid. Wow. That is a big OD, and I mean, he's just going to destroy any hero that he finds alone, even the Invoker. That's also part of why you rush the Orchid, because it just like turns off your opposing core that you've been laning against all game.
And here we have, just getting the push onto the tier 2. Let's see if Vega have any kind of response. Looks like they might just have to let this one go. I mean, Slayer's starting to head up here on the Tusk. They're standing strong here, EG. No need to back down at the moment. Maybe soon because Vega.
Is under attack.
They are coming in. There'll be TPs through. Shards getting thrown out. Snowball straight up onto PPD. Solo will get silenced up by the Orchid. It turns around with 2 clips. Is that going to be enough for the Soul Burn? It might be Solo. Oh, he does just live here. Now with the cold snap on Arteezy. But the last from Sabal turns around. 1-2. Goodbye, core. Invoker's down. Arteezy getting chased down by the Forge Spirits. Pasha moving in as well. The backup from Magan Slayer is there. He'll hold back the Gyrocopter here with the Astral. But they're going for it. The Orb of Venom slow. In comes the Snowball. Arteezy gonna get taken down. The Winter's Curse storming in, but just a little bit too late. They get the final touch onto Artur. They're unable to save his kid there.
And that shows us exactly EG's draft. I feel like it's meant to work together. They have the Void, they have the Wyvern, which are the control for the OD. They only had the Bat and the Venge, and it wasn't enough. OD's got insane damage output, but if it's not backed up by one of the AoE control factors, and really it probably has to be the Void, because you can't attack during the Wyvern ulti. So I think that we see there's a huge difference between OD when Void's around, and OD when Void's not around.
Oh, nice deny. Good job, Solo. And Universe now with a Blink Dagger.
So he's going to be around a lot more often, and that's probably why he doesn't join them. He rather split pushes, because he's getting close to that very important item that in the fights to come, that's going to guarantee Arteezy gets the damage output.
Yeah, and I guess also an item that was picked up on Void on the past, but even nicer now, the fact that Time Walk hasn't got that same range for initiation.
Yeah, it's absolutely necessary now. It's too easy to dodge the Time Walk Chronosphere. It's not very easy to dodge the Blink Chronosphere, and what we did see, even though I think that previous fight was good for Vega, we saw Arteezy destroy. I mean, he attacked Invoker like 3 times.
And he was gone. And bottom lane, Chrono to Solo. They've caught him out. A few hits from Universe. Gets themselves the kill.
Yeah, and I mean, I keep saying Void's not a carry, it's not a damage dealer, but if you're gonna get a solo Lion come to your lane, sure, he'll help himself to that.
7 for 3 at the moment. The fact that there are these Midases on the 2 cores is kind of what I feel what's keeping them pretty much level with the top 2 farming on EG. So Vega's Midas is paying off. There's only a 2k difference at this point, and it is feeling like a close game, but as you said, maybe EG with some kind of draft advantages here.
Yeah, the farm does not tell the whole story. I mean, the only time something went well for... The 2 things that went well for Vega this game were where Universe missed his Chrono, and when Universe wasn't there to Chrono. They haven't had any kind of successful trade, any kind of fights when the Void's involved and hits the Chrono. And I honestly think that that's going to be the story of the rest of the game. They're going to have to find a way to dodge the Chrono or disable the Void. Maybe Lion, the plan is for Lion to catch the Blink and then just catch him out.
And then, as you said, if he can jump straight onto the Void, get the wraparound.
And Void's actually a absolutely easy hero to burst down these days. There's no backtrack anymore. So if you get it in the time of the Lion disable, there's not going to be a time walk to heal. None of that.
At the moment, again, things seem to have calmed back down. EG, they are grouping up force. Is EG going for a smoke? What's the movement here in the Radiant jungle? It is. Bang, just like that. PPD pops the smoke and EG, they're ready to go. And there was just the Sunstrike, so they've already used that scouting mechanism, Vega. So this could be it. They can go for Roche, and I don't think Vega are going to suspect this at all, so EG should get away with this one.
Yeah, the great thing is that they've been smoking so much this game, EG. So if Vega see them off the map, they're like, oh, they're smoking to gank us. There's no reason to think that because they can't see them, they must be rushing, especially coming from the Radiant side. So I think it's a very good call from EG, and they wrap up the rush easily.
Aegis now on Artur. And working towards that BKB now, as the Ogre Club coming up to 1k gold, so... BKB Orchid, once he's got that and he's on the front lines, it's going to be fairly hard for Vega to take it down. They've got a bit of physical, obviously the way that the Invoker's built. Lone Druid and Gyrocopter, Pasha has got the S and Y.
There's going to be a window in this game where Arteezy's got BKB and Pasha doesn't yet, I think. And in that part of the game, Arteezy's just going to go ham. He's going to destroy everyone because they really can't deal with the OD with BKB unless they've got their own BKBs. And which heroes in their team buy BKB even? It's really just the Gyrocopter.
Absolutely not Arteezy. Actually, with this Invis rune coming up to the top lane, Mag playing it safe here, and he has got the Radiance complete. So 20 minutes in, Midas Radiance, still pretty good timing here from the bear.
Yeah, it's not too bad, but the way that's going to convert into value, it's not going to be like usually you get that Radiance, you go push a lane, they can't fight you, they can't defend, they lose buildings. I feel like Vega needs to somehow win a fight, but we've talked over and over and over about the control. You can get swapped, you can get lassoed, you can get chronoed, you can get... Every hero except for Arteezy is just there to set up. So, I don't know, for me, the key item is obviously Pasha needs to get his BKB asset soon after Arteezy gets his, but more important than that, Solo has to get a blink dagger. If Solo doesn't get a blink dagger,
he's very close.
He's about to be there.
This is big for him. Yeah.
This is the fundamental important piece for him to win any fights, as far as I'm concerned.
Dire's
top lane EG will find themselves another free tower here. Tier 2 to go. Vega actually making a movement down to the bottom. You got an Ether Lens now on Sumail, so the initiation going to be even better.
Yeah, we chatted before, I think you and I, about Ogre, how Ether Lens like unnerfs it, and Bat's kind of similar. You get that range back and then some.
Dire's top tower.
Looks like a bit of a push to the high ground. EG forcing back Vega. Shards will come out.
There's no blink on Solo. He's so close, but he doesn't have it.
Close, yeah.
And tactically, I don't think there's a way for them to take a fight until he has it.
Oh, it's easy. Just confidently frontlining at this point.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
As you said, if Solo had this blink, this would be a different story. They'd be straight on Tartor. Obviously a hard one to initiate on because he does still have that Aegis.
Well, I mean, I think the Lion still needs to take out the Void. It's got to be his job. Everyone else might go on Arthur. They could. I'm not sure who they go on, but purpose of Lion getting blink is that he can catch Void, so that because if they don't catch Void, the fight just can never work.
Oh, I'm talking about catch. Sumail just jumps straight onto Solo, and Solo so close to that blink dagger gold. 30 gold off. Now he's about 300. That was a big pick off for EG. Not something you'd always say about the support, but just because of how close he was to that crucial item.
Yeah, and now it's like, do EG just keep pushing because he's that much further away? Vega might feel pressure to just make a desperation move here. And if they go for a play without the blink on the Lion, they could just end up losing their axes and, half the game right here on the spot.
Arthur is trapped up here. Deafening Blast will clip him, but Universe jumps in, gets the Chrono onto no one and Mag. Sanity's Eclipse fine for him as well. They got the snowball across onto Universe. Universe getting no one low, no one on the Invoker, he'll drop. Pasha there with the Rocket Barrage trying to turn around. Universe is going to die in return. There'll be a buyback from no one. Finger on Fear. Fear trying to get himself out of the base, but the Radiant's Bear chase him down. They'll try and heal himself up with the damage. There's too much PPD. Trapped on the sidelines, gets the kill to Slayer, but they will kill the Vengeful Spirit. Only Arteezy being able to get himself out of there.
There's two factors that win the fight there for Vega. The one is that Invoker brought back, obviously. The more important one actually is that Arteezy lost the Aegis the same time as the Chronosphere. So he had just thrown his ulti into the Chrono, but he couldn't attack at all. And I've spoken so many times this game about Arteezy is all the damage of his team essentially. And even though he has Aegis, the fact that it's that couple of second respawn time during the Chronosphere, you're not getting that damage output. And then he respawns and his team's getting obliterated. I think that's maybe an oversight from EG. Like, sure, Aegis means that you're going to respawn, but you need to take into account the downtime of the Aegis.
And so after the back of that fight, was he involved to get the gold for the blink dagger?
Yeah, we've just seen it.
There we have just seen it used there. Straight in under stun, actually ending up catching two. Can they follow up for a kill there? In fact, it could be Vega in trouble. Orchid onto Solo. Sumail coming in. Universe is there as well. They'll take down the Lion. An unfortunate blink dagger reveal there from Solo. Tried to do something, but EG were there ready and waiting.
I actually want to go back to the Aegis just because if you think about it, the way EG pushed and positioned, they only did that because they had Aegis. And so it's really interesting that that's the thing that makes the fight backfire for them. I think they, in a weird way, if they pushed without the Aegis, that fight goes better for them. Because they were happy for Arteezy to go down, but it turned out the timing that he was down just screwed them over.
Here we go now, EG on the bottom lane, ready to try and take another tier 2 potentially. Obviously very, very aware that Lion does have that blink. It's going to be back up in a few seconds. They've got everything bar the Sanity's Eclipse up and available here. And they'll just start the advance. On the sidelines, Sumail waiting to see if he can get a jump in, and he does. Jumps straight in, gets the lasso onto Slayer, brings him back in. He's got out, he will get the snowball out in time. But Universe jumping back, knows he's the target, bringing the Tusk out of position, and they will get the kill onto Slayer. Raining blood everywhere as he dies, and now they just look to finish off the tier 2.
Yeah, and so it's maybe more complicated than I said at the previous push. Vega want to control Void. If they don't control Void, the other option is to control the OD. If they don't control either Void or OD in a fight, they're just not winning fights. So in every single fight, we're going to focus on those two heroes, I think, and see, is one of them controlled? If they both just free fall, like Void gets his Chrono, DZ gets to attack, that's basically it.
As we can see at the moment, net worth has swung around a little bit to Vega, but still very, very close. Up and down at this point. Vega. They've still got the farm going on Mag. Mag getting more and more on the Lone Druid. Invoker now sitting on a hefty bit of gold. We've got him on about 2.5k. I guess the build from Mag here is to just go straight for the AC now on the bear.
Yeah, he's definitely going to go for the AC. They need more of that like team fight, 5v5. They know that that's what's going to decide the game at this point. It's not going to be about one team pushing really early, the other team can't handle them. If anything, that team is EG. If anyone's going to win by pushing right now.
Invoker being down for 70 seconds there. Do apologize, the screen is cutting out in front of us, so we actually missed that ourselves.
Yeah, we're actually occasionally casting from the Russian stream.
We're casting from it. We've got the English stream, but the screen keeps disappearing, so we're kind of casting blind for some of it. Hopefully this will get sorted. We'll see the jump in from Samel though. Gets the silence onto Mag here from the Orchid. Magic Missile. There'll be a snowball through. Trying to jump on the Batrider. We've lost vision. Stuff's happening. PPD. Rocket Barrage to the face. They'll take it. The BKB from Pasha turning that fight around. Getting himself a double kill. The rest of EG will escape, but Vega still showing us that they're fighting back hard.
That BKB is such a big item because basically OD is uncontrollable. It's a hero that, like I was saying, if Lion didn't disable him, OD can just attack everyone, deal crazy damage, but as soon as Gyrocopter BKBs, OD's like, oh shit, I gotta run away, because OD doesn't deal any damage through BKB at all. And the only damage source really in their team is the OD. So suddenly the dynamic of the game shifts a lot, because Pasha did get to that BKB, and when he gets that BKB off, he's gonna be really strong in all of these fights.
I guess his next big item, Pasha, he'll almost certainly look towards the damage. MKB this game, or is there anything else you feel that the Gyro will be looking out for?
I mean, the one reason he might want to go defensive is because I think EG now realized that he has a BKB, and they've got the control that goes through it. So between Venge, Bat, Void, one of those heroes is going to try and control him. I don't know if that affects his build though. I think he still needs to go for the damage and be like, let's say I get my BKB off and no one's got their ulti for me, I'm just going to obliterate the enemy team.
And Universe with that axe, he's looking incredibly stacked, and he's keeping himself. This is a Void keeping himself on par with a Radiant Midas Lone Druid, pretty much. Just 1k between them at 28 minutes in. Universe very much keeping his game up here on the Void. But
I actually still think the Lone Druid is like a side issue in this game for EG, because he's not going to buy BKB probably, and the reason the Gyrocopter is suddenly a big threat is just the BKB. So I imagine that EG will be discussing how do we deal with the Gyrocopter in the next fight, while Vega is still going to be looking towards the Void and the OD.
Hystrin here for the side of EG. We'll see if they're able to set anything up with it. Fear at the moment just pushing on the top lane, hiding in the tree line. But yeah, Vega with Pasha, we know that they can do the damage in these fights. We know that they can take on EG head on head, and we've already talked about EG's potential to catch out, to jump in, but we can never underestimate the power of Vega fighting as a full 5-man. It's something that as a team they're just known for being very, very good at, very, very good at having the control on the fights, and we're just going to see the jump in. Samael gets the last onto Slayer, bam! Just like that, OD takes him down.
I've got to say, Sioma's the Slayer, his task this game, he's been caught out quite a lot of times actually by the Batrider, and it may be starting to cost Vega Squadron. Like, they can't afford that happening over and over again. Another thing, by the way, about the fact that Lone Druid is not a natural BKB buy is being abused by the fact that Fear's bought a lot of ATOS. You can just kind of ATOS that Spurpe all the time and kites it in the fights. Usually it plays on the fact that it runs really fast. Fear's actually incredibly farmed on the Winter Wyvern. He's almost as farmed as Samuel's Batrider.
This is, yeah.
I think does he have a Glimmer Cape in addition to the Rod of ATOS?
I don't think the Pimp can hear us, so we'll find out eventually.
Okay.
Find out next time. We'll see in a moment. And Bushbreak are going to get dealt with here. 30 minutes in, 15 to 10. Neither side looking too kind of hasty to find the fights.
Yeah, maybe they look to the rush pit again.
This could be the next bit. Next big fight.
Although we got to remember, in like a counterintuitive way, the Aegis kind of worked against EG when they had it. Obviously, they'll take that into account, and if they get the Aegis again, they'll play, they'll play accordingly. They could go for a big smoke here. And I guess it's to contest the rush. Is it to take the rush or contest the rush?
I think this is the fight before, and Solo jumping straight in, getting the Hex, the finger onto Universe, but he gets swapped out. PPD saving Universe. Solo will go down to the Soulman. They do kill PPD. There's your Chrono, on to 3. Universe moving around. The lasso there, holding down the Gyrocopter. Double kill for Arteezy, double kill for Samael. 4 dead, make that 5. Cleaning up house there. Universe coming in with a huge Chrono. And Vega, they were the ones to live for the fight, but they're the ones to lose it now. EG, they'll take themselves a very easy Roshan.
Vega has.
What a fight, and what a swap. Saving Universe at the start, PPD, a lot of that was on it.
Yeah, absolutely, because Vega have one controlling hero, it's the Lion. And if he can't control the Void and he can't control the OD, like I said, that they just cannot win a fight. So PPD making the plays, Void gets his chrono off, OD gets to attack. Arteezy actually wasted a few seconds of that fight, so I don't know if you saw. He had Lion awkward, he hit him a few times and Lion was on like a sliver of HP and Arteezy went back to get the last hit, not wanting, like, I don't know why. And then he came to the chrono and dealt his damage there, but they still easily destroyed everyone.
A very painful fight for the side of Vega. We'll see how much damage EG can do his base. Tier 3. Almost certainly going to go down. We'll see if they stick around for the racks. Still got a little bit of time here before the 3 cores are back in the game. They're just going to look to get some damage on the range racks. Do what they can at this point, and that will be the range racks going down, and now they'll bail. Play it safe. Vega are back in the game. They don't want to risk hanging around, and EG keeping themselves on top of the game here.
Yeah, and is this now... I don't know. I mean, it's just worse and worse for Vega Squadron. Already when the early game went poorly for them, I felt like their plan A failed. Then they get to the blink on the line, they get to the BKB on the gyro. Now with this loss of momentum, I feel like that's the plan B, maybe starting to fail too. And the game has become incredibly difficult. This is like... It's as if EG had just started with the racks up, as far as I'm concerned, given the draft.
20-11 at this point. Void closing in on that AC here. He's got the recipe, he's got the Hyperstone.
That's interesting because, I mean, AC is kind of a utility item, but it's also a bit of a hitting item.
And his Universe can pack a punch at this point.
Yeah, I feel like the Chinese Voids you'd probably see getting something like a refresher at this point. I think some of them have bought the AC. Like, there's an argument for either of them. The point here really is that if he hits his first chrono nicely, like, who on earth needs another chrono? That's how this game's going. And the AC is going to make them more tanky. It's good for the team. It's good for pushing, definitely. And gives him some damage of his own.
Let's see what EG's next game plan is. I mean, they'll be kind of happy, I imagine, waiting for Vegas. As we saw from the last one, that was Vega's choice to fight, and EG very much ready to turn it around. Hex now on Arteezy.
Arteezy's got a blink as well, right? So he can definitely catch... Yeah, he's going to be catching people out with his Hex, with his Orchid, and if you catch the Gyrocopter with your Hex, that's like... I don't know. Gyrocopter remains the only thing keeping Vega in the game as far as I'm concerned.
And with these items on EG, looks like they are going to start to get ready to go down the mid. The full 5 of them. Samael smoked up. Seeing if he catches anyone on the sidelines.
And he's going to be braver. He's got a BKB.
Is anyone going to come close? No one. He has been spotted as Samael. Jumps straight in onto the Invoker. 1, 2! OD just destroying no one. The Chrono from Universe. Clipping Slayer. Clipping Pasha. The Gyro. Falling thick. Falling fast. The Deafening Blast comes out. But they're still keeping the Pasha alive. In fact, he swapped away from the fight. Can they get the kill? Pasha's still alive. He's still alive. Finally goes down to the Splinter Blast. They've managed to get the kill onto the Veg. Veg will buy back. But Artur in trouble. Hexed up, taken down, loses the Aegis. Vega, they did buy back with the Gyrocopter, but they're ready to punish Arteezy. He will get down to the low ground, force-staffed out by Samael, but they follow through, and Vega looking to finish it off. He astrals himself, only prolonging the inevitable as he will still fall. Slayer with the kill, and a big one at that, down for 80 seconds here on the Outworld Devourer.
But notice, every time something goes right for Vega in this game, there's a mistaken execution by EG, and there's a buyback.
Yeah, and 2 buyback stats on.
Yeah, the defense of the base, the top lane was the Invoker, now it was the Gyrocopter and the Invoker. And again, crucial to that fight is that Pasha gets his BKB off before he gets chronoed, and they just couldn't kill him. They just couldn't take him down. He lived for really long even after the Chronosphere. If Arteezy had managed to hex him, as opposed to... Arteezy blinks in and hexes Lion, right, at the start of the fight. Imagine Arteezy only Orchids Lion, saves the hex, gets the gyro before he BKBs. That fight is completely over. Obviously, it's a lot of pressure on Arteezy, you know, you're blinking aggressively into the enemy base. But the points I'm trying to make is that Vega are still... They defend, but let's not get our hopes up because they're surviving on a sliver.
But it is a big defense, holding on to that second set of racks. The fact that they have only lost the ranged on the bottom, we really can't count Vega out in that sense. And Lone Druid still stepping it up. We saw AC coming out for both sides, pretty much in tandem. Lone Druid finishes his. Universe has got his as well.
And remember the Gyrocopter was one of the buybacks, and we were saying Gyrocopter is the thing keeping Vega in the game. That sets him back another item.
If Gyro Invoker dies again in the next 6 minutes, it's going to look very, very rocky for side of Vega, and I think EG will know that. EG will maybe look to try and make something happen, knowing that if they can pick off one of these cores, they are going to have that window. They're going to look very good. The only buyback on cooldown for the side of EG being the PPD Venge, and in the game where they've still got all the tier 2s and even a tier 1 still standing mid, they're not going to be worrying too much about buybacks themselves.
Yeah, I think EG should be happy to push now. I don't know, maybe they play it safe and wait for another Aegis. But at the same time, they can just play on those buybacks and be like, well, even if they kill the Invoker, it's probably enough, even though the Invoker is not the key hero. Or they're setting up, Fierce setting up, and Pasha could get caught. Oh. I think if Pasha waits like 1 more second there after the wave dies, he's out.
Sumail, with this invis, this could be nice to catch something out as well, but we know that Vega, they're going to keep themselves in the base. Ether Lens now picked up onto Lion, so we'll have that extra range of catch. Try and stop someone like Universe getting those perfect chronos out.
And just keep your eyes on this Gyrocopter, what I think. He's not even there right now, right? He's like not at the base.
Has he got a TP?
Yeah, he's got a TP.
He has got a TP.
But I guess they're deciding to drop the rack.
Sack the melee racks. I mean, not a decision that's going to be lightly taken, but indeed, they just sack the melee racks on the bottom lane and EG take it.
I think Vega Squadron know that if Gyrocopter gets caught, they've lost the game. And so it's like, we'd actually rather drop buildings than risk him getting caught. They want, you know what they want? They want EG to start the fight before Gyro's there, and then he TPs in. Yeah. Because we've seen that in fights where the Gyro gets to live for a long time, they can actually win the fight.
And also something that they might be looking for, obviously, Pasha doesn't need to save money for buyback. He wants to try and finish off that butterfly, and he's just a few hundred gold away from doing so. And yeah, picks up the quarterstaff, very close to having the money for the talisman. So you can get the butterfly for the next fight. That is going to be very, very useful here. But EG, they're not going to be looking to ones to wait around. Straight in, Solo jumps forward, but 1, 2, 3, Odie takes the kill. There'll be BKBs coming out from Sumail, coming out from RTZ. They take down the Invoker. Invoker down for 80 seconds without buyback. They do get the root, the punch onto Arto. He's becoming kept up still at the tower. They'll heal him up. Winter's Curse getting laid down to the Slayer. The Bear munching away at the tusk, takes him down. They will now Savage Roar as they chase EG out of the base. RTZ, Astral himself. Universe with the bash, trying to keep the Bear away. They're trying to kill it. Astral, he gets the blink out. RTZ will be able to escape. And now this very, very awkward position with for Vega. 3 down, only the buyback available on the Tusk.
And now the Chrono controls the Gyro even if they don't kill the Gyro. So even if Gyro gets off BKB and they just Chrono it, they can keep pushing, I think.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
There we have tier 3 down, Pasha, the Arctic Burn from Fear, and here we go. There's Rody, the snowball save will come through. Straight onto Artor, but now the Grinter, Pasha low, pops the BKB, gets the cooldown out, going in. Universe just jumps through, and RTZ just sitting there, right-clicking away. Easiest double kill of his life. Will get fingered, hexed up, stunned from Solo. You've got to be careful, they've just lost 2 big heroes. Now again, Universe with these chronos onto Mag. This man has no fear. In fact, he does. He's just to the side of him. Fear's going to come in and help him. He does have fear. That's what's going to save him. The heal from the Wyvern. Universe is going to be all right. Mag just dancing around, still trying to go for it, but Universe jumps straight in. He doesn't care. He does have fear, but he'll use it to his advantage. Stun, Hex onto Universe, getting Glimmer caped up again. Fear with the saves. Universe will survive. And Sumail jumping forward. 2 stacks onto Solo. The Firefly as well. Looking to try and take down the line. No one is there. Can they jump with the BKB coming out? The Cold Embrace as well. Fear once again keeping his team alive. Universe jumps in, so does Sumail. They'll take down Invoker, 4 dead on Vega. And Solo, the solo man standing. And this could be the breaking point.
You know, when there's nobody defending against you, you've got all the damage in the world. And I don't know, man. I feel like Vega maybe just hanging around, having a discussion about what they could have done better. At this point, it's very late in the day for them, and
Snowball, they're trying for something. They'll jump in onto Sumail, but they just turn. Universe again with the Chrono onto 2. Solo down, Slayer as well. Double kill for the purple boy. And they've done it. 32 to 15. 40 minutes in, EG take the game. And RTZ straight out. He feels dirty after that OD game, but what a performance from the guys there. Vega tried their best, but as you said from the start, the draft just felt strong from EG, and from start to finish, Universe and Fear at the end. Those saves from Fear, absolutely massive.
There's 2 important factors in this game for me. The one is that overall it's mostly a draft win for EG, I think. other than the draft win, what could Vega have done well in terms of playing? Sumail got way too much. Sumail went into a